For the introduction of this chapter, I want you to think about one question. So why the cost is so important for producers? So for us, we're consumers, we know the happiness is really very important. And if we consume something and bring happiness, we definitely want to buy it. So for producer, it's really hard for them to say, oh, I just want to pursue my happiness. Actually, if they can maximize their profit, they will feel happiness. But how can they maximize the profit? The first, they need to sell the product. Sell product which the consumer want to buy. And so that part they can make sure they offer the high quality goods, sell the proper price, and then it will have the certain demand. But another side, they can really very actively manage it. That is cost. So they can minimize their cost to produce certain amount of goods. So that's why the cost is so important for the producer, because they can really very actively to manage the cost instead of manage the demand. So the producer are profit seeking, so they aim to produce a sellable product at the lowest cost of a resource used. So many times this means producing overseas. So now I want you to do one thing. Look around of your room, trying to find every product. Where are they made from? So you should probably find 80% of them are made in China. So why that happen? So if you really enjoying watching news, you should know that China are labor intensive, which means they have a lower labor cost. So those manufacturing producers, they prefer to open a factory in those low labor cost country like China, Vietnam. So that's why you can find many of your product in your house is made in China, because the producer always trying to minimize their producing costs. So, however, costs are not the only consideration. Productivity is also important. So, learning the economics is really very great, because you have many different ways to reduce the cost. So it doesn't mean you need to uh, exactly reduce the cost, but you can increase the productivity. Is another form to reduce the cost. For instance, you paying $10 an hour to typist A who type 90 words a minute. It's a lot cheaper than paying $2 an hour to typist B who type 10 words a minute. So you should realize that the productivity increasing productivity is equivalent to, say, reducing the cost. So you need to emphasize the importance of the productivity in reducing the cost. So in this chapter, we look at the cost of the production, specifically how much output can a firm produce. So it doesn't mean if the cost is low, you should produce as much as you can. So they should have the upper limit. So we want to figure out what is the maximum amount, what is the maximum amount of the output can achieve firms' goal, maximize the profit. And how do the cost of the production vary with the rate of the output? So you will know that if you are working and studying, you need to best allocate your time on working and study, so that you can reduce your opportunity cost, but generate your maximize utility. The same idea as consumer theory. So do larger firms have a cost advantage of the smaller firms? So look at a large firm like Microsoft, and those are larger firms. Do they have a cost advantage over the smaller business? Such as if you want to own your own software company, do you think you are competitive on the market? So in this chapter, we want to learn whether the larger firm is better than the smaller firm. So the learning objective. After learning this chapter, you should know what the production function represents. Know how the law of diminishing return apply to the production process. Describe how the various measures of cost are related. Discuss how economic and accounting costs are different. understand the economics of skill and this economic skill. So now we will divide those concepts into different videos so you can watch one by one.